The end of an era is here. My journey on the Xbox 360 has been one that has been very gratifying and has paved the way for me to really fulfill a lot of the goals that I set back probably when I was in high school or maybe when I get my first couple years of college of just getting into the gaming industry. And so I kind of went to Twitter and asked if I should do a send-off video for Gears of War. Obviously, overwhelming response. They are saying yes to do so. I imagine that some of my subscribers would want me to do the same. And, I kind of asked about what I should do with the Running Ranked series. And I don't want to nip it in the bud. I don't want to be like, oh, this is it. So I do want to figure out if there is a game, and I do have one in mind, that I can pass the torch to. And that was another question I kind of asked on Twitter, and a couple that popped up. Halo 5, which doesn't really align with my goals, but that is a good candidate. Battlefield 4, another one, doesn't really align with my ideas and goals about what I want to do. And then there's Titanfall, which does align with my goals, and I think that is the game that has been the one I've been leaning more towards for next gen, and really hone in on and focus my attention towards with the same level of detail that I gave Gears of War. So likely, if I do Running Ranked on next gen, it will be with Titanfall. So I thought I would let you guys all kind of know that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. But I kind of wanted to give people a story of how I got here, maybe even a story about my channel in general, because and kind of me as a person too, because a lot of my subscribers now they came at a period in time when Gears of War was my focal point. And so if you don't know the history behind how I got there, then I don't think it's really relevant to see how I could change it kind of moving forward and seeing my perspective, I guess, on things. But I do owe a lot to Gears of War. There's no denying that. And there's also a number of other places that have kind of set this opportunity for me to be in the industry. And I need to start back, I think, in 2006, maybe even before that. Let's go back to 2005 when the Xbox first released. There's a group of guys called, and I ran the team, VBI, Violent by Instinct. You guys know my handle, Arctic VBI. And I've had this YouTube channel since 2006, I believe. And I was one of those OG guys that just did not post any content on my channel. I don't know how many of the original YouTubers out there, probably all of them that still maintain their channel, probably have like 1 million plus subs or in the hundreds of thousands, because they were some of the pioneers of YouTube. You guys got to think, in 2006, Google bought YouTube. That's how long ago that was. And so from a YouTuber standpoint, I mean, I've been around forever. I have not recreated my channel. I've not done any of that. And VBI was the team that kind of got me producing content. And the very first video I posted on my channel happened to be Gears of War, but I didn't post it a whole lot. So I think I posted 2 videos, maybe 3, and they were against our rivals at the time, LGD, which stands for Legends. And they were a good group of guys. They actually won the very first, maybe the second MLG event, or maybe they got second. They were in the finals. I remember that. So I think it was LGD versus Vision or something like that. And that was a very iconic match. I think that we could have been in the finals there. I think we would probably been the favorites there. But the very first event, we got 4th place at Major League Gaming in 2007. But leading up to that, we were very, very adamant about going to LANs for Gears of War. I think we had gone to more LANs than any team out there at the time, just because of our circumstances. It was very coincidental that Skyless, Wraith, my brother, and then me, we were all like within 30 minutes of each other. And so in a time when the LAN scene was just starting for Gears of War, we were all centered around one area, so we could, when we played, the connection was very good online. and then traveling, which is really convenient to all pack it into a car and then drive somewhere. And the place that we often visited was a LAN center in Indiana called eBash. Some of you guys know that place. I used to work there, as a matter of fact. But that whole time period in 2006, I think they had maybe 3 LAN tournaments that we went to and won every single one. And then we went to a bunch of other things. Went to WCG. We went to CPL. All of these events in early 2007, and we were just going to town on LAN events and competing. During that same time period, we actually, Skyless and I also competed in the World Series of video games in Fight Night. And this is some of those things that people don't know. It's like I wasn't really focused on Gears of War. I was more focused on the idea of esports, of competitive gaming. And I wanted to be the best multi-gaming team ever. And it didn't matter to me what game I played, as long as I knew that we could practice enough to have a fighting chance at being one of the top players in the game or top teams in the game. And so Skyless and I played Fight Night for a little while. I actually won the very first event. He got second. So it was him and I in the finals. And then the next event, I think I lost to CDN. But and they did single Elam, which is really weird. And CDN won the event, but the guy that he played, I probably would have mollywopped. So that was just one of those circumstances where we had an opportunity to show how faceted, I guess, our minds were, and how talented we are across multiple games to be able to say, okay, we're in the middle of Gears of War. We're going to drop this for, a couple, 3 weeks. Not going to drop. We're going to cut back on it for about 3 weeks, and now we're going to go play this. Now, that did hurt us a little bit for Gears of War. We kind of, when we came back, we weren't quite as good together, but we still maintained pro status throughout the duration of that season. And along the way, we competed in a couple other games. So, I mean, it was just, at the time, we wanted to really show off our talent as a group, as a team. And MLG and all of those tournament venues at the time, WSV, WCG, they all allowed us to do that. I mean, Skyless went on to go to China and Germany playing Carom because he was just, I mean, he lucked out. I'm going to say that. But, it's just one of those things where we were very interested in competing. And so that's kind of been the foundation for my YouTube channel. It's been about competition, about showing people how talented we are in a professional way, and in one that encourages and empowers gamers. And it's never been like a jokey, hey, let's have laughs all the time on YouTube. It's been one where I want to educate people on how they can improve in a game, because a lot of people play games to, even if they don't intentionally do it, you're playing typically to compete against other people. That's what multiplayer is. I mean, you're playing against an opponent. So I think one of my goals when I started doing YouTube videos, at least posting gaming, was to show off competition, but to also show it in a way that showed how professional you could be about it, and just maintaining a certain level of sportsmanship, which I've always wanted to show in competitive gaming. And that's just the nature of how I kind of grew up and how I was raised and how I treated real life sports. So from a competition standpoint, Major League Gaming, eBash, and the LAN center scene, all those things kind of paved that particular way for me to kind of present videos. And then there was me getting into the industry, which kind of started with the competition from MLG and eBash. But out of college, I wrote a business thesis to the who's still the acting president of eBash LAN centers in Indiana. His name is Zach Johnson, and he liked it so much that he actually wanted me to drive out and run one of the stores that franchises that he was opening up in Bloomington, Indiana. And so I basically packed up all my bags. There we go. And no money in my pocket, really. Just drove over to Indiana, which is like 6.5 hours from where I lived in Ohio, because I was on the northeast end of Ohio, and Terre Haute's on the far west end of Indiana. And so they opened up the store in Bloomington, which is right in the middle of the state. and that's where I lived for a couple years. Bloomington, then I moved to Terre Haute, and then I moved down here to Austin. But that was kind of a way for me to get into a portion of the industry. That's more like retail kind of, and at the same level as retail, I mean, there's also equally just dealing with customer interaction and dealing with gamers, right? So I get to see these personalities of gamers, all these different types of gamers come into the stores, get to see what they play, get to see how they interact, get to see how they are just I guess categorized as a hardcore or casual, or he likes this game or what's popular, what resonates with people, what doesn't, what controls are good. I mean, I get to see all these different things and hear this feedback from these people. So it's like one big beta test for me for just seeing people interact and play games. And so that kind of paved the way for me to say, okay, I'm kind of past this. I feel like I can do something else. I feel like I want to be involved in the development side of things. And so, in 2010, I decided that we were going to pick a city that had a lot of game development studios, move there, apply, and I was going to get into the gaming industry. And so, while all this is happening, I'm still doing things on YouTube. At this point, I think in 2010, I was doing reviews, which this is another thing I think a lot of people on my channel might not realize is that, there's a lot of talk about Gears of War, but if you look at the view count for my most popular videos, they're all video reviews. So, at the time, I was very interested in, and I still am, which is why I'm doing it more, in providing reviews for gamers that are relevant and that provide very good information about specific products. And so when I started doing that in 2010, and that was also a way for me to say, how can I become a YouTube partner and do it without using gaming? Because, I wasn't a machinima director or anything like that. And so video reviews made sense. Doing reviews on peripherals for gaming made sense to me because I was a gamer. I played at a professional level. And so I had that knowledge and products that I use and how I kind of critique things to catapult me kind of ahead of where some of the reviewers at the time, and I still feel like, aren't very knowledgeable in what makes a certain peripheral for gaming very good specifically. Some of them are very good at just tech in general, like, phones or whatever they might do. Most of them are phones, gadget reviews, but in terms of just raw, like, let me focus on gaming, there's not too many guys that do that well. And so there was a couple guys that really pushed me that I need to kind of pay homage to, aka Trent and MLG Steggy, who both still have channels. I think Trent is now an associate editor at Engadget, and I'm not sure what Steggy is doing, but I think he still has reviews that he's posting every now and again. I'll link both their channels down in the description, but both of those guys really pushed me to make my reviews better. Particularly, Trent had this very cool editing style for all of his reviews that made him so fantastic. And it's just really a shame that he had to stop because of Engadget. But I mean, they're just incredible. And that's where a lot of my ideas for how I needed to do video editing for reviews kind of came from. So, mad props to him for kind of showing that off to me anyway. And I'm sure he has his own inspirations as well. But, in terms of reviews, that's how I got my partnership with YouTube, and I had to apply. It took a really long time. And since then, YouTube has really eased up on letting in their partners. I had to go through a 6 or 7 month application process. It was really ridiculous. And now I feel like they're just automating it for people. It doesn't matter what they're posting. So, I mean, just to see the difference in how they're kind of taking that has been baffling to me. But yeah, that's how I got involved with being a partner. It just never was gaming. It never was Gears of War. Gears of War didn't come around for me until, I want to say 2011 when Gears of War 3 came out. And, during the late 2010, early 2011, Skyless and I were kind of put our heads together and said, let's do this lesson series about, kind of improving people in Gears of War. And so we had to play Gears of War 2, which neither of us were really wild about playing, but, we'd obviously won an MLG event in Gears of War 2. So, we figured it would be an opportunity for people that recognized us to go, okay, these guys, we're going to listen to this because they know what they're talking about. And so, we made that lesson series in order to help people in Gears of War specifically, because we felt like the game had a skill curve to it that really turned off a lot of people to that particular, third person view. There was like the auto aim wasn't as prominent as a lot of other games out there. And it was difficult, and it still is a difficult game for people to just pick up and play. I always make this joke, because people always say, Gears of War is getting easier. And so there's a couple things I want to say with that. First off, if you play Gears of War 1 and then you play Gears of War 4, the game is going to feel easier because the game itself is not fundamentally changing. So it's like you're building on experience that you already have. If I took Christy, and I always use her as an example, and let her play Gears of War Judgment, she's not going to kill you. She's going to die a bunch. And if she does kill you, it's because you got sucked into her chainsaw while she was revving it around the corner, just like stuff that used to happen on Gears of War 1. So let's just be real, guys. That's the thing that always bothers me. And I made this point on Halo because I saw the Halo guys talking about Halo 4 is too easy, Halo Reach is too easy. Everyone is easier than the first one because you're building on experience that you already have. I'm not saying that game devs don't make the games more accessible. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that you're building on previous experience, so the difficulty curve for you to actually hop into the game and play is significantly lowered. So there's like this expectation that I think a lot of gamers have where the game is going to magically be more difficult than it was before, because some divine intervention from the game devs is going to get thrown into the game that makes it so much harder that you're going to just have to completely change how you play. That's just not what they do with franchise titles. So, for me, helping people get better at the game was going to be something that helped the community as a whole. And that's been my goal always, is to help the community as a whole. And, Colin's lesson series was phenomenal, and we just built on that. And, we started talking about the game, talking about, what kind of things we have for Gears of War 3. The beta dropped. Then we did started doing beta episodes, and those got really popular. Video got posted on Kotaku, and things just kind of snowballed. And, my interest in development really started to blossom when I started to interact with Epic on a level that wasn't just, hey, I'm posting on the forums. It was, I started to get to know these people like Quinn when he worked there, and Raxzilla, and Stacy, and all these people, Jim Brown, for example. It just started to come together, and I started to know people in the industry, and then that started to go, okay, well, this guy was in this, and then I'm talking to these peripheral guys because of the reviews, and then they're like, oh, he does this too, and I don't know, it just kind of ping ponged off of each other. And so Gears of War became a pathway for me to not only talk to Razer on a different level, but be like, hey, I have credentials and accomplishments in this game. Why not sponsor me? And I have this growing brand, and my website and my YouTube channel and social media and all of these things that I'm doing. Why not be a part of that? And so these things just started to come together, and that's pretty much how I got started. That's a kind of a long but not as detailed way for me to talk about it as possible. I think there's a couple other videos where I have kind of detailed some of this information before, but as a send off, I felt like I needed to kind of say it again for you guys. Now moving forward, running ranked, I am very interested to hear what you guys have to say. People have asked, well, what if Gears of War 4 comes out? And to be honest, and this is just heart to heart, guys, I don't think that I'm going to spend as much time on Gears of War in general as I have in the past. I don't know why, and I kind of have the same feelings about all of the games that are just reiterating the same stuff. over and over again. There's just something about that now that I'm in the industry where I don't like it. I don't like that from a game development standpoint, that people are getting, gamers are getting rinse and repeat on a lot of the same IPs. And to me, that feels like it's not pushing the boundaries of game development. And there's obviously a lot of risk involved, and people have to feed their kids. They got to work. They got to get money, and so sometimes you just have to bank on a product that you know is a sure thing. But I feel like a lot of innovation is lost playing the same IP 8 times in a row, and then having people buy 8 versions of the same game, the same engine, with the same tech, and 1 or 2 new features over and over and over again. There's just something that really bothers me about that, just deep down really bothers me about that, and how people just are consumed by it. Like, you guys, and the other part of it that really bothers me is that no matter what the developer does in order to try to fix it or try to make it better, nobody's going to agree that it's a better game. You know, you have one group of people saying, oh, the 3rd version of that game or the 2nd version of the same franchise is so much better than the one that's out right now. I hate this game. And so the community is like this fractured mess of opinions that are very wildly, and the cohesiveness of the community itself, I think, is kind of fragmented because of this difference in opinion on games. And, you know, I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad for the industry. I mean, Call of Duty is, maybe they've set the trend so well that it doesn't matter. Or Madden, for example, they've set the trend so well that it doesn't matter. But I feel like eventually that's going to run its course. And so anytime I have the opportunity now to play a new IP that I think is going to be amazing, I'm going to take that opportunity to play it, and I'm going to get involved with it. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to continue on to those same ones, but I can tell you guys for this moment in time, right, as of right now, I'm going to play the heck out of Destiny, and I'm going to play the heck out of Titanfall, because those are 2 new IPs that have no preconceptions from anyone in the community other than maybe they make some comparisons to other games. But by themselves, I mean, their gameplay mechanics that people might or might not disagree with, but they don't know if that's the right way to go because it's a new game. There's going to be new content in the game. There's going to be developers that are trying to do different things. And some of them can be rehashed ideas. Some of them can be meshed ideas from multiple games. But it's going to feel new. It's going to feel different because this is the time. This is the opportunity for developers to get out of the rut, so to speak. And that's what happens when you kind of have a turnover rate of 8 years for a console. You get stuck. You get stuck in making games that print money instead of building on innovation and making really cool products. So that's kind of my goal moving forward. I still am going to focus a lot on trying to help people get better at games, and I still want to show people how incredibly talented my teammates are, and how amazing we are, all of us, amazing we are at playing multiple games and whooping ass in a lot of different games. So that's a goal that we have, because I really want to show how different it is for us to be able to hop on PC and tear your ass up, hop on console, tear your ass up, go play the PS3, tear your ass up, or PS4, tear your ass up. You guys get what I'm going, you know what I mean? I just really want to show that off and let people understand that, you know, we were a very talented group of people, and we want to show that we can not only play Battlefield or Titanfall or Halo or Gears of War, but we can also play some fighting games, and we can also play some MOBAs. So that's my goal moving forward, and I hope you guys stick around for the ride. And running ranked, we'll see its fate. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say, and until the next time, I'll catch you later. Peace. If you enjoyed this gameplay, make sure to give it a like, and if you really enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future.